Hi guys, my name is Leigh Williams and welcome to A Conversation with Young Black Divas. Today our special guest is going to be Alexis Boyd and Ms. Almia Valentine, and let you guys tell our audience about yourselves.
Hi everybody, I'm Alexis Boyd. I am a patient coordinator with radiation oncology for UMMC, and I also serve as a senior at Jackson State, I love.
Go Tigers.
Yes, I'm an intern with Jackson State as well with CARE4ME Services.
Hello, I am Almia Valentine, a sophomore biology major, public policy administration minor at Tougaloo College. I served as Miss Freshman for the 2022-2023 academic year, and I now serve as the Miss Collegiate 100 for the 2023-2024 academic year.
All right, thank you guys for joining us today. So y'all, before we get started, let's just go and tell our audience the purpose of this show today. So it's basically to understand how young Black women perceive HIV and the stigma surrounding it. And we're also going to discuss a few other topics like breast cancer, intimate partner violence, and STDs. You ladies ready?
Yes.
All right. So how do you feel about HIV?
Well, I feel that HIV is a serious virus, but I do feel that in the African American culture, we don't really understand it. A lot of people are miseducated about it. Mm-hmm. They don't really know how it is spread. They just know that it's a disease.
Yeah. What about you, Alexis?
Well, as she stated, nobody talks about it. Everybody's scared to talk about it. And I think if more people talk about it, you know, we can all help each other prevent it and slow it down. We just got to talk about it.
Yeah. So why do y'all think they're afraid to talk about it? Like, what's so bad about it?
I think that, like I said, the miseducation of it, not really knowing how it spread. A lot of people would even be scared to even hug a person or talk about a person. I remember seeing about the Princess of England, Diana. She actually hugged an HIV patient and everyone was going crazy because they were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she did that. And to this day, even though that was a while back, till this day, people still think of it like that. If someone was to hug a person with HIV or anything of that nature, they'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they hugged them. I think it needs to be talked about, but in order for it to be talked about, I feel like people need to be more educated about it. And I do think, for example, mental health, now that we're more educated about mental health, we talk about it more. It's not a thing that we're saying like, oh, I have depression. It's not like, oh my gosh, don't say that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, now we are more open to talking about it because we are more educated about it.
Right.
Yeah. I think with the shame that some people feel about HIV, that's another reason that they don't want to talk about it, and the stigma surrounding it. Like, people are like, look at them as being dirty or like just so much stuff. And also us being in the South and the Bible Belt, I feel like that plays a major role. And also just going back to like being in the Bible Belt, they're not talking about sex. Sex not in school. They're not even letting you pray in school. Like, kids are at school majority of their day, like how many months out the year? Almost all of them now.
Right.
And that's where they at. Like, that's a community from them. We get so much from our community, like our school community, our family community. I feel like if sex and sex education was more of a topic, HIV, you know, the stigma around it could be, you know, a little bit better.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on her, just like she was saying, you know, we don't talk about it as far as we got diabetes, we got cancer, we got all this hypertension, we got everything, and we can hug them, we can comfort them. Why can't we comfort HIV patients? And
I definitely think it needs to be more conversations about it. More conversations. That's why I'm glad that we're doing this show, a conversation with young Black divas, to let people know it is okay to talk about HIV. Okay, let's end the stigma. So with that, why do y'all think people aren't getting tested for HIV, STDs?
Because for one, they're scared. They're scared that if they get tested, oh, what's she getting tested for? Do she got it because she got tested? You go get tested to see if you get everything else. So why not go get tested for HIV?
Yep, and same as she said, I think we are afraid to know the real about ourselves. And I hate to be that person that always throwing history out, but I know the Tuskegee Institute, where those men were injected with syphilis, right? So it's like, it's a lot with, I think, Black people as a whole. We don't really want to go to the doctor because we're afraid that the doctor is even against us, or we don't even want to know that we have something. We'll just rather not know and just have these unknown issues with ourselves, and we'll just deal with it.
And we want to get personal, because that's what we're here for. Some of us just don't want to know what our partner's doing.
Right.
And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah. And I don't think that's right, because you never know what somebody's doing. So the least you could do is make sure that you're okay.
Right.
If you make sure that you are okay, that's one less thing you have to worry about. So Mia, I like how you was talking about the Tuskegee syphilis, because that goes back to why people aren't getting tested, especially like in the Black community. We're not going to the doctors, and that plays a major role. And because of past history that was done to us, like they were told they were getting tested for bad blood, but honestly, that's not what they were getting tested for. And then when the penicillin came, they could have got, the dose of penicillin and been treated. They didn't give it to them.
Right.
So once they found out, it's like, oh, wow. And then, that just trickles down like generation to generation, like it gets passed down. So now that happened then, they done told their kids told their kids, all that. And now it's like, oh, I'm not going to the doctor. Like, there's no telling what they're going to do, what they're going to treat me for, what they're not going to give me. And it's like with the Henrietta Lacks. She went in and they took her cells, and like to this day, they're still using her cells. Her cells were used in the COVID vaccine. So she's still being used to this day. So I like that we sat and talked about that, because reoccurring STDs can lead to, HIV infections. So I feel like if you get tested and treated for HIV STDs, you're stopping the spread. And then you're stopping the stigma, like, hey, I got tested, why not? And I know me and my friends, we're very open with each other, and we tell each other, like, hey, I just went and got tested, and we'd be like, girl, that was scary. Like, it is scary getting tested. Like, you have anxiety. And I had like COVID anxiety. When COVID first came out, y'all, I had the worst COVID anxiety. I could sneeze and my heart was racing, like, oh.
But you do feel better once you do get tested, because you're saying to yourself, you love yourself, because you have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else. So if you're taking care of your temple, you can help somebody take care of theirs.
Yeah, because our body is our temple, and we should take care of it. So, ladies, what do y'all think are some ways that we can help people, like, stop being afraid to get tested?
Well, I think we can just educate them first. Just testing it to know your status. Even if you are afraid, even if you know that you're good, if you know that you're not doing anything, just test to know. Because like I said, everybody get tested for diabetes, hypertension. You go to the doctor for all these things because you want to know, why am I getting headaches? Why is my blood pressure running up? But you never know. Your blood pressure can be running up because you have something else going on with your body. So it's just talking to somebody and educating them and not letting them know it's full-blown AIDS, because there's no such thing as full-blown AIDS. So I just think just talking to them, and it started at home. Talk to your family members. We sitting around talking at family reunions. Bring that up, because we don't talk about it.
We don't.
And then when somebody have it, let's comfort them. Let's not just, oh, she got disease, you got to eat over here and all this. No, we got to come together as a family, friend, come together.
And I think another thing is, let's not lecture the community. Like, nobody wants to be lectured or talked down on or talked to. Let's talk with. Like, let's have a conversation, like a real, genuine, organic conversation. Like, we're just sitting, talking. Let's just talk and educate. Like, let's not see like who's higher than who. We're all the same. So let's just talk on the same level, and I think that'll help, especially like kids and like teenagers. They don't want somebody's auntie or grandma like, hey, don't go have sex. You can't say that. Sex is a very natural thing. It's gonna happen. So I think people need to give their kids or anybody that they know the right, tools to use. And there's plenty of organizations, around here that give free HIV testing, STDs, syphilis, free condoms. We have community health workers that can, you know, talk to your child, your children about stuff if you're uncomfortable with it. Just because a person is uncomfortable with talking about a topic, I don't think that should lead to them taking away that conversation with somebody else, because that's not fair. What about y'all?
I feel the same way because everybody doesn't receive the same way.
Right.
You know, sometimes they can listen and not talk the whole time, but they left with something.
Right.
Yeah.
So talking about it really does help. You know, just because they're not responding doesn't mean they're not listening.
Yeah. And I feel like in today's age, social media is like a huge thing. Like there's so much information on social media, right and wrong. And the wrong information gets spread way faster than the right information. And then the type of music kids are listening to nowadays, it's like they're getting it from somewhere, but that's probably not the best information. Like you have to talk to them, like, because them listening to Sexy Red, like all that, like, no, like, you know, you can listen to her, but hey, don't do what
I tell
she
my
do.
kids, know what you're listening to. You listening to all this, it sound good, might move you, but at the end, what is the message behind it?
What's the message behind? Like, yeah, you turned up right now. Like,
Right.
you having fun, but do you know what she's saying?
Exactly. And I always ask them after that, we jamming in the car, but we're going to ask, hey, what did you learn from this song?
She said that. What does
does
that mean?
You're right.
What do you think it means? Let's start there. What do you think it means? Because what you think it means, it probably does not mean that.
Right.
So let me tell you what this lady is really talking about.
Right.
Yeah. So
I want to piggyback off of what you said about the South being like a Bible Belt. I will say that I feel, like you said, they do tell younger girls and younger men, you know, don't have sex. But it's always don't have sex. It's never, here's why you shouldn't have sex. It's always just don't do it. And as a kid, you're going to be curious about things if you don't know why, or if you don't know this could happen if this happens. Like, I don't think they understand I don't want to say consequence. Yeah, the severity of what could happen if you were to have sex unprotected, or if you were to just have sex with so many different people in, you know, a certain time frame or whatever.
they just know don't have sex.
Right.
And you know, growing up in like a black household, you can't ask questions. You can't ask why.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I told you so.
because I told you so. No, I feel like parents, you know, they should tell their kids why. Like it's not a disrespectful thing if somebody asks why. Like we live in the real world. Like I need to know why.
And the world is changing every day. So we can't make the excuse that they wasn't educated. Okay, we all gonna get educated about this.
You're telling the child, no, you can't have sex. They say why. Because I said so. Now that just leaves them, oh, well, she said I can't do it.
I want to learn why.
I want to know why I can't
I'm gonna do it.
I'm
Yeah.
going to do it and see, you know, why I can't do it. And then it just opens up a whole can of just a lot. Okay, guys. So we did that one, y'all. So
That was good.
you know, it's October.
Yes.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I have pink cards, pink nails. So let's talk about breast cancer for a little bit. And it is affecting our community very high. So do you ladies do like self-exams? Do you get mammograms?
Yes, I actually got a mammogram this year. I was actually scared, but I did it because I'm a little older in age. So it's just time to do self-care, love. You know, we got to love ourselves again. So I just wanted to make sure I'm good, you know.
Yeah. See, with me personally, I can't get mammograms right now. So I just get like the little ultrasound. You know, I'm not having much. I don't have much. Just the little ultrasound. But in October of 2016, I was a freshman in college, and I was in my dorm, and they were doing a breast cancer, you know, promo or whatever on TV. And it was like talking about self-exams, how we should do that, like when we're in a shower, just laying down, like you can do that anywhere. So I was like, okay, cool, like let me do a self-exam. So while I was examining it, I felt, you know, lumps in my breast. So I'm like, oh wow, like let me call my mama, like girl, I done felt lumps in there, like that's scary.
It
like
is scary.
That's scary. So I went back home to Jackson and I got in with a doctor, and she felt around, and then she went to biopsy, and then she found out that I had like a lot of cysts in my breast. So we had to have I had to have surgery to get them removed. And then she left some in there, and she was like, well, they don't bother you, you know, we're gonna leave them in there. But when she got in there, she realized that it was way more than the screen had saw. So I had to get some more removed. And then I ended up catching an infection.
Oh, wow.
A few weeks later, I had to come all the way back and get re-stitched up and all that type of stuff. And it just goes to show, like, you're sitting down doing a self-exam, and I would have never thought to do a self-exam if I did not see that promo, and look how that turned out.
Right.
Yeah, so, and that leads me to my next topic, how Black women are more likely to develop fibroids. I don't know about y'all, but it's very prevalent in my family. Like, almost every lady in my family have fibroids and cysts.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I can totally agree. Almost every woman that I know of, not even in my family, that like our family friends deal with those type of things. And I want to say that it doesn't, I think that it comes from just the way that we are, our health as far as the Black society as a whole. Because y'all know we in the South, we love cornbreads, collard greens.
Yes.
We love greasy
We love
food.
a good soul food.
We love all that. And I don't want to get off topic, but I want to say I went to DC this summer and I saw how people were walking everywhere. I don't see that in Mississippi.
Right.
I don't see that in the South. We driving. If we have to go 2 minutes up the road, we're driving, and we're not exercising regularly and things of that nature. So I don't want to say that's the sole reason to why, but I think that does play a part in why a lot of women in our family, we are seeing this because of the way we're eating, of how much we don't exercise. We have very little exercising habits that we have.
I think genetic plays a role in that as well.
Yeah.
So I said that I had to have surgery to get mine removed. So I was going to give you guys a little stats on that, because 25% of women will suffer from fibroids or cysts by the age of 25. So in 2016, I was 19. I had already, had it. And so the next stat that I found was 80% would suffer by the age of 50. So y'all remember I said that I had to have surgery. So when I was doing my research and stuff, it said Black women are 2 to 3 times more likely to undergo surgery to have, their fibroids and their cysts removed. And I just thought that was just very, like, wow, like I am in that, I'm in that statistic.
Yeah.
So I hope after today, audience, that you are going to go do self-exams and take care of your health, because that is definitely important.
Yes.
Okay, ladies, how y'all feeling?
I feel real good. This is needed.
Y'all feeling good?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is going to be our last topic. And this one can, get a little heavy. So we're going to talk about IPV, and that is intimate partner violence, you guys. So who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Well, I will say intimate partner violence. So we're talking about domestic violence.
Okay, so intimate partner violence, that can be sexual violence, stalking, physical violence, or psychological aggression by an intimate partner.
Right. Okay. Well, I would say that's very, very unfortunate. I will say that first. And that's very sad to hear that is happening to a lot of young ladies, and it could be happening to men as well. And I want to piggyback up off of that because a lot of people do not understand that men can be raped too.
Yes.
Like they just think that only women can be raped, but it can happen to men as well.
Men can have intimate partner violence.
Yes, they can. And I just want to say that it's very unfortunate and it's very sad. And I think that with that being said, I think that I don't want to say we should educate more, because I think the education is already there.
It's
like
there.
You should know what to do. Well, you should know how to act with a female or a male. You should know not to do things like that. But I will say, when it comes to a lot of women speaking up. I think that's one thing that a lot of women don't do, or men, that we don't speak up. We're afraid to speak up. No one listens. No one hears people saying like, oh, this happened. They just think, oh, that's whatever. It's not that deep, but it really is that deep. So I think what I would say about that, I think that a lot of victims need to speak up, or they need to come into contact with someone who will listen and who will help carry out that justice that they need.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it sometimes can be like shame. Like they're afraid to tell people like, hey girl, like this is going on with me. Like I need help. I am in a, abusive relationship. Like I am being sexually abused. Like all that. Like it's okay to speak up. And then some women, they just leave when they're ready. When they feel like they have had enough, they leave. But then sometimes it doesn't work out like that, and it does turn deadly, and they can't get out. Sometimes they waited too long and they can't get out, and I feel like that's so sad. 'Cause I feel like us as women, especially Black women, we go through so much, and we feel like that we can't tell anybody else. And I think another reason we feel like we can't tell our sisters is because they're already going through something. So why should I put something else on them? So I know, like me and my two friends, if something's going on, we want to talk to each other. We'll text each other like, "Hey, are you in the the right headspace, the right mental space to talk about something?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, I'm so glad you asked me that. Nobody has ever asked me. Am I okay to take on something else?" So I feel like that's a big role why people don't speak up. They don't want to put their trauma on somebody else.
And then too, I'm picking back on you and you, judgmental. Everybody want to be judgmental, and that plays a part in not telling people things because they're scared to be judged. And it goes back to HIV. They can be in the sexual relationship that's abusive and they have HIV but can't tell anybody because of what's going to happen to them. Also, being that safe place for an outlet, you don't never, pay attention to body language. I'm the type of friend that I know you. If I say you my friend and I'm your friend, you should know
something's
me.
Wrong with you.
So if I can come to you, the approach sometimes be like, hey, I notice that you're not acting yourself. Sometimes the approach is something that somebody needs because it's all about the way you approach somebody as well.
Yeah, and then some people just want a listening ear. Sometimes they don't always want advice. Like I said, some people want to leave when they're ready to leave, but they want to know that somebody is here for them, listening to them. So sometimes later we just have to be a listening ear. Like, hey girl, like I know you don't want no advice, but I'm here to listen. Like my ear is all yours.
And we have to be better in that in the women community. Uplift each other, embrace each other. Not always tearing down because just because I'm telling you that I'm in an abusive relationship, you probably you in a relationship too that's abusive. So I can have that connection. Correct. So if we can just be honest with each other and just be that outlet and be that embracing spirit to one another, I think that'll help us all, in the long run. So.
Yeah, I think that will too. But yeah, that it's crazy that women are afraid to speak up, and you never know what the next person besides you is going through, or if you decide to speak up, how that can help them. You just never know. So, like my boss told me, you have a voice, you have a mouth. Use it, ladies.
That's right.
Use it.
That's right.
So guys, how do y'all feel?
I feel great.
Great.
This was a good conversation. I think we hit some very, important parts. We talked about a lot. It was a little heavy for a second. It was a little heavy.
Really heavy.
Yes, but thank you guys so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. And thank you guys for tuning in with a conversation with Young Black Divas. And if there's anything else you would like for us to talk about, or if you feel like you need resources or help, please subscribe and do not be afraid to reach out for us. Thank you guys.
Bye, y'all.